Hey, all right. Yeah. I could sit here and listen to drums all day, completely forget what the hell it is I'm supposed to be talking about. Welcome to Live with the Shaman and our new broadcast season. In this season, we're going to be talking about the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, our path, the way we do things, how to understand what it is we do and why we do what we do. Not all shamans live, act, or interact the way the Grove of the Celtic Shaman does. Those of you that may be watching our pre recorded broadcast may well disagree with some of the things we do, and that's good. We don't expect everybody to agree with us, and that's okay. You have that right. But we do want questions. If you don't agree, say, why do you do this? Why do you follow this particular ideology? Why do you do the things that you do? So, in our topic today, we're going to be talking about understanding the path, right? And I posted in the chat area the link to the drumming sequence. It's a playlist that I found on YouTube that was absolutely phenomenal, I thought. But what we're going to be talking about is shamanism as a lifestyle today, the discipline that goes along with it, and why it's not just a path, but it's more of a lifestyle. So with that, we're going to get on. We may make the full hour. We may not. Depends on how many people pop in, interact, ask questions, as they probably won't, and that's okay because these videos are for those that are actually interested in possibly learning something different other than what is nationally accepted as, quote, shamanism. I tend to be a little, what? What's the word? I tend to be a little protective of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman because, as a shaman myself, unbeknownst to me, I've been practicing shamanism as long as I can remember, way longer than before I even admitted what the hell I am, where I'm going, and what I'm doing, and how the hell am I supposed to get there. The biggest things that shamans find is we're not normal. People want us to be normal. No, I don't like normal. Normal is boring, but I do get it. So many shamans that I've met through the years, we have to kind of build personas, right? We have to kind of build personas to be able to function in society. I have a mildly different persona at work because I have to be the professional. Shamans have the very open mouth tendency to tell someone to piss off. We have the very open ended ideology of telling someone, no, I'm sorry, my bullshit meter is going clear off the scale. I really truly think you're full of crap. Through the years, I have learned, as I hope you will, to curve those feelings of need to tell someone they're full of crap because, after all, it's their crap. They can be full of it if they want. Ish, for the most part. So, what makes shamanism so different from so many other paths? Well, we are very outspoken, sometimes almost to a fault. We tend to be very set in our ways, very young in age. Shamans tend to find themselves very set in their ways when they're in their teens and in their 20s, and they find themselves very unflexible. Now, morning, Clint. In the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, I've always taught my students to try to be a little more flexible than is in our core. The Grove of the Celtic Shaman is essentially an open grove where we allow people to come to our circles. We allow people to come in and sit and listen to our Grove meetings. We haven't had a Grove meeting in 10 years, believe it or not. That's crazy. So we need to gather the Grove of the Celtic Shaman together again for an actual sit down, face to face Grove meeting. Our tradition that we follow is very important. If you want to find that tradition, you can find it over on the Open GCS, of which I posted in the first video the link to that uh, page. Shamans have to try very hard to be open minded about other philosophies and ideologies. Now, here's where a lot of people ask me, dude, how the hell do you do it? You are the leader of a shaman grove. Um, you are shaman. You are Celtic shaman, which means you're very warrioristic and at the same time you're very peace minded. So, how do you do shaman and how do you do pagan minister and flip back and forth through the different hats of being a pagan minister, being very acceptive and open minded, and how do you um, switch to being the master of a grove and leading your shamans and teaching them the way they need to be taught? Um, so, with that, we fall into the lifestyle of the shaman. Like I said early on, we have to build personas. These are not actual personalities, but they're personas. They're modes in which we flip into when we're dealing with the outside world. When I'm at work, when I'm out and about with the family, I am always shaman here. I am always shaman here. But I try very hard to flip that switch when I'm out in public, to just let people be who they are. That's one of the hardest lessons to learn by my students. I have a senior student right now that is working on her priesthood, bless her heart. She's got a couple of other tests that she has to do. She has to do things like cast a circle, call up a circle, whether it's in her living room or backyard or where the hell ever. But I have to see her go through the processes of a shaman circle. And unfortunately, nowadays with the digital world the way it is, people can't travel hundreds of miles anymore to do shamanism stuff because, well, quite frankly, we're all too busy trying to make ends meet on our own side. So we've had to bend a little bit. We've had to bend a lot. Some of my students who've come up through the ranks, such as Clint, who's watching us live now, and I think the other one is Cindy that's coming across posting as live with the shaman. Both of those have come all the way up through the ranks. They've made their 10 year, so to speak. They've made Master of the Grove, right? Both of them have decided to stay with the Grove of the Celtic Shaman as masters within the Grove. Thereby, they are required by oath to follow the tradition. And I'll bet neither of them, myself included, reads that tradition on a Sabbath time span. Each Sabbath, we are required to sit and read through the tradition and see if any changes or anything need to be made in it. Maybe a rewrite, maybe things are not up to date. After all, at the time of this video, it is 2018, and there are things that may have been written 10 years ago that may need to be reworded, changed, manipulated just a little bit. The first thing that the Grove of the Celtic Shaman wants to do is stay up with the times. We want to be who we are, and we're going to be who we are. Part of the things that makes the shaman path tough, we get these people that come in and they say, "Oh, I'm shaman this and I'm shaman that," and the first thing they want to do is start bringing Wiccan ideology, Druidic ideology, or other paths or ideas into the shamanism, Celtic shaman. And the first thing we tell them is, no, that's not going to happen. That is the first thing we tell them. You're not going to bring Wiccan ideologies and philosophies into the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. You're not going to call what we call a switch, half shaman, half witch circle, unless it's planned and we're ready and you've at least reached the priesthood or the high priest level so that you are met all the criteria of the shaman. Saying hello to those who are just joining. Welcome, definitely. Today we're talking about understanding the path, right, wrong, or indifferent. Understanding the path of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. Not necessarily just talking about shamanism. Shamanism itself have so many thousand different variables, it's not even funny. I am the master of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, and I have two masters that walk beside me within this tradition. Within the tradition itself, we're not very flexible. One of the things I'll talk about before the end of the broadcast is friends and brothers and sisters to the Grove. Friends and brothers and sisters to the Grove, they sit in on Grove meetings, they sit in on Grove broadcast, they put their 2 cents in, we like it, we cuss, we discuss, we debate, we theorize, the whole bit. But if I can find it, and I have a tendency to misplace things, shut up, don't go there. In case you're wondering what the hell I'm looking for. I'm looking for my copy of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. Ah, there it is. I have several copies scattered throughout my servers as well as in the cloud. But there's something I wanted to kind of show you, Benz. We're discussing the path of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. Yeah, I felt that, Clint. Uh, Here it is. Yeah, it's hard to believe we actually revised this thing. The last revision was 7/19 of '09. Well, the problem is, in order to revise it again, all of the leaders of the Grove have to come together to a face-to-face sit-down and go page by page reading this thing. That's going to be hard to do, especially considering the Masters of the Grove are spread out as we are. So, and I'm going to flip over to the other monitor because I want to show you some of the things that are our basic foundation, right? Our basic foundation. And I'm going to try to bring this up a little bit. It's easier to see. There you go. Foundation for all things in the shaman is we find our power in the ability to survive in acceptance. Acceptance. Well, I just got through saying that shamans, for the most part, are unbending, unwavering in who we are. You're not going to change who I am. You're not going to change who or what you might think I need to be. I have had many try in the past. I've had many quote lovers and many quote live-ins, whatever, that have tried to change my core. Well, they may have made me wobble a bit, but I catch back up. And as a shaman, as a true shaman who have been through the tests and the trials and the things that have happened, you're not going to change who I am. Not going to happen. So, this section here, I'm going to leave it on the screen for just a moment. And those of you that are watching the pre-recorded broadcast and those of you that are watching the live broadcast, I want you to read this for just a second. I'm going to read it out loud. I apologize. My read aloud capabilities do suck. But this is our core. This is the Grove of the Celtic Shaman at the core. Celtic Shamanism is a craft of healers that was started back in the days of the Celts. This was thought to have been the oldest form of healer known to man. However, it has been learned that the Siberian shaman and other tribes of shamanisms could be the oldest form of healers that are yet known. Always strive to keep this in mind and learn about yourself and others' past. Never feel you are the only power. Never assume you are untouchable. And never use the negative to attack anyone. Never use the negative to attack anyone. And this is number one in our core. We are never above others. And the first paragraph of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman tradition, and the first thing that my students learn in this path, and that's what this video is about, understanding the path. The path of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. I am not better than you are. You are not better than I am or anyone else. I may be able to do some things that you can't. I may have learned things over the years that you've not yet learned, but it doesn't mean you can't do them. And in retrospect, I said, I may be able to do things you can't, but the correct term is yet. Generally, when I'm teaching a student, I may say, no, you can't do that yet. It's not time for you to perform that function yet. One of the biggest things about Celtic shamans that come to the Grove for training is they want it now. They want it yesterday. They want to walk in knowing immediately everything there is to know. And they think in the first 6 months, they think that they are ready to be a high priest. They quickly learn that's not so. Once you've actually reached the senior studentry, and the tradition says a minimum of 6 months. average senior student, though, doesn't make it for the first year to senior student. I've had some people that never made it to senior student. After a year or 2 years, they say to hell with this and they drop out because they can't handle the discipline. This path that we follow, the GCS, the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, is surrounded around and organized with discipline. We don't get out spouting, I'm shaman, I'll mess you up. Don't mess with me, I'm a shaman, I will fuck you up. No. First time I hear one of my students do that, the reprimand will not be nice. You will not be a happy camper if you get out and start talking shit about my grove. Not gonna happen. So, in short, understanding the path. You guys that are watching this on the pre-recorded broadcast, I'm not going to expect you to understand the path. This is why we publicize the tradition for all to read, digest, think about it. Is this what you want to do? We don't take the oath seriously. Where the hell did that come from? We take the oath too seriously sometimes. We take everything we stand for sometimes entirely too serious. Now, there was a specific line in here. Yeah, this is a big one. Back over to the left screen. This line right here, I am the elements. I am. When someone says, who are you? What are you? I am. You will never be told to do anything that another has not done and lived to learn the lessons of the council. I am not your mother or your father. This grove did not take you to raise. I'm not your mama, and I'm not your daddy, and the grove is not your mama, and we're not your daddy. The tradition of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman is very serious to us. Now, granted, the Grove of the Celtic Shaman is not the end-all be-all. We have multiple brothers and sisters to the Grove who practice forms of shamanism that are of their own. They're solitary shamans. They're independent shamans. They have their own ideology, their own faith-based system, their own way of doing things. What makes them shaman is their core philosophies and ideas. I have been argued multiple times about this tradition, going, well, I don't feel that way. Well, I don't care how you feel. I accept the way you feel, but if you're going to join the oath tradition of the GCS, you're going to follow this tradition or you can get the hell out. I don't care. Neither does anybody else within the Grove. And those people who have become brothers and sisters to the Grove understand that as well. We listen, we embrace, we acknowledge, and we accept their input. We like their input. And even Sean says, squirrel. No, drum, drum. But as this series, the section of series in Live with the Shaman is understanding where our foundation comes from with the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. It's understanding why we do what we do and not necessarily how we do what we do, but the tradition that we hold dear to our heart. And one of the things that kind of irritates people is when they come in and they think that they're going to join the GCS. You're going to join the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. Nope, you're not. As a first year, as a senior student, you're not going to join the GCS. Now, if you are my student, and see, here's the thing, that the GCS is different from a lot of other traditions. I am the founder, master of the Grove. Cindy is the next ranking master of the Grove, and Clint is the next ranking master of the Grove with Cindy. We do have, I think, memory serves, a high priestess. Yeah, within the Grove, I think, if I remember correctly. I haven't looked at the roster in a very long time. I apologize for that. But when a student of mine joins the Grove, they are required to understand right? You are required to understand this section right here. And this is on page 12. And yes, we are some wordy people. We are we are some very, very wordy people. But you are required to understand the growth paths of the shamanism, the growth path of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. And my students are required to oath to this tradition, up to the priesthood. Now, as of the priesthood, they're given a couple of choices. And this is the one that really kind of flips them over the edge, so to speak. Okay? This is the one that kind of flips them over the edge. When you take the oath to the priesthood, you're given a couple of extra choices. One, will you remain on as a priest and a oathed member to the Grove? You can actually become an oath member to the Grove of the Celtic Shaman after your priesthood. Right? Thereby, you are required to teach within the tradition. And question number 2, will you be going through your ministry training? The Grove of the Celtic Shaman will train you to be a pagan minister and some of the variables, the different personas that you have to take on, and how to flip and change hats, right? You have to be able to put on the minister hat, take it off and put on the shaman hat, and take it off and put on the society hat. And you may have to do that all within the same conversation. Some people find it a little hard to do that. Ah, Cindy's having PC trouble. Sean says he's the grand poopal. Yeah. Sean stopped by to say, good morning, squirrel. Have a good day. Absolutely. Well, so, okay, this is this is the understanding the path, what we stand for, who we are, how serious we take who we are, the fact that the Grove of the Celtic Shaman tradition is fully open and free to download um, over on the OpenGCS page. If you want that link, it's posted on the Live with the Shaman page. You're welcome to join, read. We don't post every day. Sometimes we may go 3, 4, 5 days and not post a damn thing. It's because nobody's asking questions. I'm not going to make up shit to talk about. I'm not going to make up post to post. I'm going to post if I have something to say. So that's it. That's about all I can talk about with understanding the past. The path to the grove of the Celtic shaman. So that's kind of where it's at. And one of the big things that I'd like for you guys to really try to comprehend is no path, no path should be taken lightly. Whether you're studying Wicca, witchcraft, Druid, Fae, um, Asatru, whatever, no matter what path you're studying, no matter what you're following, no matter what you're doing, enjoy it, embrace it, take it seriously, but have fun with it. Spirituality and paths should be fun. They should be enjoyable. Yes, there's discipline. Yes, there's education. Yes, there's tests and trials and things that you have to go through and blah de blah de blah. But be who you say you are. And it's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to say, I don't know. Really. Well, with that, I'll give you the rest of your day. I hope you enjoy our series. I hope you enjoy our broadcast. Do or don't. We'd like to know. We'd like to hear from you. We'd like to know what changes we might can make to make it more appealing to others. We want people to watch our broadcast. If you're watching on YouTube, click like or dislike and click subscribe and the bell. Don't forget the bell. YouTube's wonderful bell. If you're watching on Facebook, come over to Live with the Shaman, click like, and you'll be notified of upcoming videos. Be sure and check out our old videos. I do want to thank you for watching, though. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time right here on Live with the Shaman.